Hello and welcome to Lois and Morgana Davidson Art. It's Morgana here, and today I'll be demonstrating this lovely autumnal hawthorn painting for you. This is the reference photo that I'm working with today. I downloaded this from the website pixabay.com. I've drawn the outline of my leaves and berries onto A4 size watercolour paper, and I've masked out a few of the more prominent leaves and the berries using masking fluid. So today I'm going to be demonstrating a really fun technique you can use to paint a loose watercolour background really simply and easily, which is pouring. So in these little pinch bowls I've got three colours. You can use any colours of your choice, but today I'll be using raw sienna, burnt sienna and Perylene green. The technique is pretty much as simple as it sounds. We are just pouring the colour straight onto our pre-wetted watercolour paper. Make sure that you have something protective like newspaper down over your surfaces before you begin, as this can get a little bit messy. And then we are going to pour on the paint. As you can see, I'm beginning with my lightest colour, the raw sienna. Then I'm going to add in my burnt sienna, and finally a little bit of the Perylene green. I'm going to be using the Perylene green a little more sparingly than the others, as it's very dark and rich and intense, and a little goes a very long way. Now it is time to have some fun, so pick up your painting board and tip and tilt it around so that the paint runs across the paper, like so. You can see that it is all blending and running together to form the most beautiful organic shapes and patterns as I do this, and honestly this is just such a fun way to paint. It feels very liberating to just throw some colour on the paper and just go for it. I really recommend this for anyone who wants to try changing up their painting style a little bit, as you'll never end up with the same pattern twice, and that's a good thing, I think. You will likely end up with some excess liquid on your paper with this technique, which you can either run off the edge of the board or use something absorbent like kitchen paper, as I am here, to dab some of it up. This is also a fun way to add sort of delicate or interesting patterns into your wash. However, I'm actually going to add even more paint in just a minute, as I want to add some spatter pattern, which I'm going to do with a small fan brush. I'm still sticking to just three colours at this stage, so the same colours that I used for the pour, which is of course some raw sienna, burnt sienna and Perylene green. I'm going to finish up this part of the painting by sprinkling on some fine table salt, which is going to bloom out into the wet paint as it dries, creating a small flurry of pretty white marks. Do make sure you leave your painting to fully dry before removing the masking fluid. I ended up leaving mine overnight, as I'm using cotton paper which holds a lot of water, and it does get very saturated when using the pouring technique. You do really want your paper to be completely bone dry before trying to remove the masking fluid, otherwise you can run the risk of tearing or damaging your paper. Now to paint the leaves, I'm using almost the same colours as I did for the initial wash, adding them in small patches to create the feel of these autumnal leaves at the turn of the season. The colours I'm using here are burnt sienna, Perylene green, sap green and cadmium yellow hue. I'm also using my size 4 round brush to fill in the majority of the colour as you see here, and then I'll be using my small detail brush to just tidy the edges and add any finer details. Now I am going to speed up most of the rest of this demo just to show you as much as I possibly can, but in summary the rest of the leaves are painted in pretty much the same manner as I've just shown you here. There is a wonderful freedom in this kind of painting, as these autumn tones are so many and so varied between plants and species and leaves, so you can really just go to town on these leaves and paint them in any colour combination that you like. Don't forget to add some twigs and branches into the background as well, which I'm doing here with some more Perylene green mixed with a bit of burnt umber. To paint the hawthorn berries, I'm using two different red paints. This is Alizarin Crimson Hue, which is a lovely earthy, rich kind of red, and I'll be using some Winsor red as well for a brighter pop of extra colour. To create the impression of a slight shine on the berries as well, you can lift out a little bit of wet paint using tissue or kitchen paper, leaving a small area of paler colour, like so. And that's it. That's my painting finished, and I'm really pleased with how sort of warm and autumnal this scene ended up being. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching. And just a very quick reminder that if you haven't already, you can now order Lois Davidson's wonderful book Landscapes in Watercolour from all good booksellers for some brilliant exclusive watercolour tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and if you enjoyed this video then do please consider checking out my Patreon page, which is linked below, for even more videos like this one. Wishing you all a wonderful week, folks, and very happy painting.